Hello there. My name is Corey, and I am a Star Wars.
My name is also Corey, and I am also a Star Wars.
And my name is Jim, and I am a Star Wars.
And we are
a Star Wars. Hey, look at that.
That was the best one ever.
This is a new fancy episode. We teased it in our last mini episode.
Supersize.
Hashtag fancy.
We say supersize. It may end up being 36 minutes, but we're going to find out.
I mean, I'm here for 3 hours.
What had happened is we're going to start with episode 1. Corey has come up with a list of facts and or questions that we're going to talk about for each movie, each of the 11 movies. And so
if you'll forgive us, we will be a little bit prepared.
Yes.
For these episodes.
But like just a little bit.
We're usually pretty much winging it. So this is going to be fun. This one, of course, episode 1 is called The Phantom Menace, a.k.a. The Phantom Menace. And I think in one of the episodes that I lost, if you haven't listened before, I lost 3 episodes worth of shows. And so we did re-recorded 2 already today, but this is going to be a new element. Anyway, the story behind why we say Mentis is that I was working at a Blockbuster Video, late 90s ish, early 2000s. There was a movie called Don't Be a Menace to Society While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood.
Yes.
Which was like a sort of spoof movie on like hood movies, right? Basically from the late 90s, Boys in the Hood, Juice,
Menace to Society,
et cetera, et cetera. Which reminds me, I haven't seen Don't Be a Menace or Don't Be. I haven't seen Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood in forever, and both of those are fucking excellent movies.
I watched Menace to Society not too long ago. It's kind of hard to watch now.
Yeah, I bet.
Ugh, like how this is violent.
Mm-hmm.
I was into this. Ugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Scary me at 15. Yeah.
But I was working at Blockbuster, and I was, I was grumpy a lot in those years. I was mad.
He showed up today grumpy here, by the way.
Yeah, I did, but I'm not anymore. I got the homies and some chicken wings. I'm good.
He was angry.
But yeah, so I was working, this guy was like, hey, do y'all have Don't Be a Menace to Society? And I was like, yeah, hold on a minute. Let me go look. So I go and check the Dropbox, and I kind of flip around in there, and I can see that there's not one in there, right? And I was like, no, we don't have it. And dude goes, did you even look? And I was like, yeah, I just looked for. And he's like, what'd you look for? I said, Don't Be a Menace to Society. He's like, I said, I want Don't Be a Menace. And I'm fairly certain I turned around and was like, what's a Menace? And I remember at the time my boss, Brooks Parasite, shout out Brooks, was like, hey Brooks, don't be a dick.
Right, like that,
Which was funny because Brooks was a dick to a lot of people also. But he was my boss and he was telling me not to be a dick. I was like, I'm not. I just pointed out the fact that I looked for this movie and it's not there. And it became this whole thing with us saying Mentis. So we'll probably say Mentis 700 times over the course of this podcast.
Or we might surprise you and not say it ever again.
No, we'll say it. We might even sing it if you're
Did
lucky.
I say that he was grumpy when he got here? Because he was grumpy when he got here.
I was real grumpy.
Salty.
All right, so let's go over the facts, Corey. Producer Corey is here today.
Okay, so I've got a structure here. It's kind of based on trilogies because Star Wars loves trilogies. So we're going to have 3 parts. Part 1 today is going to be facts and feelings and one big question. So I'm going to start with some facts. This is the prepared version portion of the episode. This is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. That is the official title. Written and directed by George Lucas. Released May 19th, 1999. The budget was $115 million. It made $924 million on its first run.
Wow.
Then it came out again like in 2012 in 3D, and it made another $100 million then. So it's over $1 billion in box office.
It was technically an independent film, right?
Yeah, that's right. That was before they sold to Disney.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so in 1999, making $924 million made it the number 2 box office for the year because Titanic came out that year.
Oh, wow.
And then when it came to Oscars time, it got nominated for Best Sound Effects Editing, Best Visual Effects, and Best Sound. And it lost all 3 of them to The Matrix.
Oh, wow.
Matrix won all 3 of those Oscars.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That was the same year?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So,
Fun fact. This is the only movie... before you could just order your movie tickets on your phone, you had to go to the box office and get them. This is the only movie I've ever camped out overnight for.
Yep. Same. I was there.
yeah.
Yeah, we
This
were all
movie
there.
is 1999.
At the
for
now
us.
defunct Cinemark. Not Cinemark. What was it? Fuck. What was the name of that chain?
I don't know. They had rats.
Yeah. It's not Cinemark. I remember that.
But yeah, no, we stayed up all night. We weren't in costume. There were some there who were. And camped out with a bunch of like-minded individuals.
Shout out Jeremy Barnes.
Had a great time. There were some epic lightsaber battles. And then we got the tickets. We all went home, took a nap, and then came back that night. Because this was the midnight showing of what would have been the pre-Friday sneak peek. So it was like midnight.
Thursday at midnight. So
no,
you
it
got
was
to
Wednesday at midnight.
Right.
Because that was Thursday o'clock, right?
Right.
So we stayed up all night the night before, went home and took whatever kind of nap a 20-year-old can take.
Yeah.
Were we 20?
99. We were 22.
22. There you go.
Go outside, nerd.
Go outside,
Old enough to
nerd.
know better.
Old enough to know better. And then went to go see a 2+ hour movie starting at midnight.
Yeah.
We were young once.
The theater was packed. Lots of people in costumes. And that theater had stadium seating, and we were somewhat near the back.
That was new at the time.
That was new. And I remember a group of people making a straw that went from the back row all the way to the front row. And they were drinking out of someone's cup in the front row. And like, that's how we were killing time before the preview started.
I feel like it was the 3 of us, Susanna, Jeremy Barnes, Matt and Amy Castleman. Brad Maroney, I think, was there at one point.
Sounds about right.
William Murray for sure was there at one point. And I think that was it that came over from Florence.
So
We're in
the
Huntsville now.
anticipation was pretty massive.
There was a terrible movie theater in Florence, Alabama at the time, and
Yeah.
we refused to go there to see this.
That's right. A lot of Floattown folks came over to Madison.
True.
But
Cinephiles.
we were
Thank you.
We were very excited
Yeah.
about this movie beyond just it
Yeah,
being a new Star Wars. Like we had invested in the carnival-like atmosphere of getting tickets and being, one of the first people to see the movie.
Right. I just saw something posted today that reminded me that spring, one of the biggest hit movies was Meet Joe Black. Wow. The Brad Pitt movie that nobody cares about. And the only reason that it made money is because
he got hit by a car.
it's because everyone knew that the trailer
was
showing
for
before
Phantom
that
Menace
movie.
was showing
That's
before
right.
that movie.
So people would go buy tickets, see the trailer for Phantom Menace, and then dip. Because
is
you couldn't
wild.
go online and download a trailer. You couldn't
do
get
that
video
in
online.
99.
That was
Yep.
crazy.
That is wild as shit. I actually saw that movie in the theater with my mom.
Meet Joe Black.
Yeah.
There you go. He was deaf or something, right? Was that?
I don't remember. I just remember him getting hit by that car at like 45 miles per hour in
I never saw
the
it.
middle of downtown New York or somewhere. Anyway. So yeah, is that all for the facts? I'm sorry.
That's all for the facts. No, yeah. Also setting the scene, like in 1999, we had not had new Star Wars outside of the original trilogy. Now in 1997, that spring, they put out the 3 special edition new releases where they added all kinds of stuff and really changed around the
quote
original.
unquote special edition.
Right. Which nowadays is just, we have what
it's
we
the
have.
version that we have now. Yeah.
Although it's been tweaked since then again several times. McCluskey
I could think
or
of a few
McClunky or
things.
whatever he says now.
I could think of a few things that
When
need to
Greedo
go.
shoots, it says McClunky now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. For no reason. There's a weird gibberish word.
Side tangent. Do y'all watch movies and shows with subtitles?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I used to think there was no reason for it whatsoever, but like the older I get, I just need to make sure I know what they're talking about. So I have them on, but sometimes there's shit happening that you can't hear. on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
And like,
heard that that's
it'll be like voices.
a common complaint. Yeah. There's apparently discussion of like the motion smoothing equivalent to audio, where like the TVs are going to have a setting that like emphasizes dialogue over the mix. It would be good, but I mean, they mixed it a certain way, right?
True.
You know,
It's my movie now.
look, I just do it like my dad used to do it.
I do.
I turn it up louder. So like if anybody like walks by the house and I'm watching Star Wars or something, you're going to hear it outside with the windows closed. And then the next morning when I get up and I go to turn it on, it's still set at that level. It blows me away.
Yeah, I'd be doing that sometimes. I got a football game on like 60, or a movie, and I wake up the next morning and Jamie's going to watch the fucking news, and she's like, "What the?" This is loud as shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So we haven't had new Star Wars. We've had the same 3 movies. We got new versions of those 3 movies, but that's the entire Star Wars. Now, some people read comic books and all that. I never did. So to me, Star Wars was 3 movies.
The only thing that I did before then was like getting, I'm blanking on the names, but there were like magazines that would have, not Entertainment Weekly. There were some, Starlog, yeah, those kinds. I would like grab as many of those as I could and read about what was coming.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, content wise.
No.
There was nothing else. Mm-mm. So everything we knew was in those 3 movies, and now we're getting 3 more. And we've been hearing for years that it's going to be the prequels. It's going to be the story of
Anakin Skywalker.
Anakin becoming Vader. So that's what we knew going in.
I'm sorry I keep derailing this, but you're producer today, so stop me if I need to. I got laughed at so hard a few weeks ago by my wife because I was about 3-4 beverages in for the evening, and I was like, "Hey, question."
It was 2:00 on a Tuesday afternoon. He has a problem.
No, it was not. But I was a little deep, right? And I was like, was George Lucas the first person to ever be like retroactively like, how did these people get to where they were and then write what is called a prequel? Because I don't remember hearing about prequels beforehand. She laughed me out of my goddamn apartment. She's like, did George Lucas also invent metaphors? And shit like that. And I was like, no, this is a serious question. And I was like, were there people doing shit like that I just don't remember? Or because it wasn't called, was it not called a fucking prequel? Because it was also like,
I feel like that term was coined.
Okay. That's all I was asking.
But I'm sure that there's been stuff that's come out where it's, I mean, even
no, that was
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom takes place before.
Comes out it happens before. Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay, never mind.
So stuff has come out of sequence before like that.
That was still George Lucas, though.
That's true.
See?
Oh, shit. Checkmate.
George Lucas invented metaphors.
I didn't mean to get... Sorry, y'all can go back.
And dangling participles.
I think we've pretty much... Does y'all have anything else to add about like the run-up to or the anticipation of or here comes?
I have one thing to add to it. I was just married and had... Let's see, James would have been 1.5. I had a little baby at home.
Yeah.
He was cute. He got past that stage of like newborns that kind of a little weird looking.
They look like potatoes.
And I was so excited about sharing a new Star Wars saga with him. Like I was, of course, excited even before he was born about sharing the Star Wars that I grew up.
Right.
But like, I knew a 1-year-old wasn't going to see a Phantom Menace. He was going to be like me and see the 3rd one in the theater for the first time. And I was so excited, not just about seeing new Star Wars, but getting to experience new Star Wars with my son for the first time. I was very excited about that.
What? How? I mean, I'm sure that he was watching it when he was 4, so he probably doesn't have like this is the first Star Wars movie he saw.
I'll ask him.
Because I wonder...
His name is Coupon.
Yeah, I wonder if Coupon...
AKA James.
AKA
I wonder how he...
Shoestring.
Because, in my head, I have the order that I know that I was aware kind of thing. So I wonder if he does too and what his is like.
Yeah, because, I mean, he grew up with me
Yeah.
and all the DVDs and all the VHS and everything. So it's a definitely different experience. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So we're at opening day. We spent the night. We came back. It's midnight. We're in the theater. It's getting dark. Fucking ding, 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 ding. I remember the crowd like flipping out
Cheers.
when it popped out. We were like, it's really happening. It's really happening. New Star Wars. Holy crap.
We did it.
And then the crawl comes and it's Trade Federation is having a blockade of
Trade
an
routes.
economic dispute is going on. And so what the bureaucracy is going to need to
Communications.
do is try to reach some kind of peaceful negotiation through. And we're like,
Negotiations.
oh, okay, Star Wars. I mean, trade disputes, but Star Wars. So it was a little bumpy, but then in rewatching it last night, the first like 20 minutes or so of this movie is like nonstop.
It's really good.
It really hits the ground.
And I didn't fucking even read it. I was so excited watching it, talking about the first viewing experience. I was so excited that very few of those words registered with me. I was just like yellow crawl, Star Wars fanfare, new Star Wars, holy shit.
Are we talking about after we leave the theater yet? Or are we going to wait and do
we
that?
can do that too. Yeah.
I just remember thinking this was the best shit I've ever seen in my life.
When you left the theater?
When I left.
I mean, you jumped to the end. Hold
Because it
on.
was new Star. Well, he just
Oh, that's true. No rules. All right.
No rules, just right. Outback.
There was
Steakhouse.
there's only three of us.
Right.
There's only one of us here in the trio that thought that it smelled like spoiled eggs, and that was Corey Martin. I remember looking at you leaving the theater, and you were like,
Yeah, because there was.
and I was like trying to will it into being everything that I'd hoped it would be.
We all wanted this to be the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Right, which
and I
is
remember thinking it was
unreasonable.
fantastic because
Yeah,
I saw it
yeah.
again in the theater a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But like by the time it was on video and we were like, there's some stuff that is maybe not the greatest, but it's a Star Wars.
And there's great Star Wars in it.
The first, like I said, the first 20 minutes, like you've got them landing on the thing for the negotiations that go sour with the viceroys. So then they hop the thing and land on Naboo, and then they go to the underwater city, and then they come back up, and then they go with the queen, and then all that like stuff just happens. You meet everybody in the movie. You meet Palpatine before they leave Naboo. You meet all this stuff, and then they they run away and go to Tatooine, and that's where it kind of takes a breath, and that's like 30 minutes before you get to Tatooine, and then that's where it kind of starts to fall apart for me in the rewatch. I was like, okay, now we're on Tatooine. Now we meet a boy that we're not going to give him any good lines. We're going to, here comes the yippee.
I'm a person and my name is Anakin.
Yeah.
We're not knocking on Jake's performance.
No.
There's just not good lines.
No, most of my qualms with this movie are about the writing and the directing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't. Darth Vader should not have been the kid from Toy Story. I mean, from Christmas Story. Like, he shouldn't have been an adorable little kid to me. Like, he should have had a little dark side. He should have been kind of a bad kid or whatever.
He
but instead, we get like the cutest little, like, yippee.
It was pretty cute.
He kind of gets the fuck you, I won't do what you tell me thing. Because, like, Qui-Gon 3 different times is like, stay in that cockpit, don't move.
That's true.
And then 3 minutes later, this motherfucker's in a yellow starship taking down the.
He's kind of a Dennis the Menace.
From
kind
the
of
inside.
There you
Dennis
go.
the Mentis.
Dennis the Mentis.
Holy, yeah.
There it is.
He's a mischievous little imp of a child.
Sorry. I feel like I keep taking this and just.
You're not. This is what we're supposed
Well,
to
you're
be doing.
normally the producer, so it's a power struggle between the two of you that I'm witnessing. And only I can bring balance to the
I called him
force.
producer Corey after I fired him twice.
And now I'm promoted. All right, so where are we?
Yes.
So
Have
after
some.
we've like watching the movie, okay, yes, the middle of it, the Tatooine scene, which includes about an hour and a half of pod racing. It feels like that goes on forever to me.
It's
now.
very long without music for most of it. It's
And it's like it's just 3 laps, but
I
it's
like
like
that scene.
Oh,
I like it.
It needs an edit. It's like we saw the entire goddamn race in real time.
Yeah, we did.
There was no
It could
parts
be
of
shorter.
it. It was
Yeah.
long.
Also, all of the like worst racist stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it popped out to me immediately then. I think I'm a different person now because now it's like, oh, how did someone not stop the viceroys from talking in a terrible Asian?
I never noticed that until this morning, and I was like, "It sounds
Really?
like the
Wow. Yeah.
It sounds like the fuck because I knew their voice always got on my nerves, but it never registered.
No,
and
it's
this
all
morning
like,
I was like, it's
oh,
like
what
broken
we do?
Japanese,
Oh.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
the inflections and the broken Japanese, and it sounds like the little kid from Pulp Fiction with in the cartoon. What's it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. He may here forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you
just did
can't
a
do that.
viceroy. You just did a viceroy.
That was the viceroy talking about the trade dispute.
Yeah. And then we go down to Tatooine, and then now we're trying to figure out slavery. And like, he's a slave, and that's weird. And his
These two
mom's a
people are
slave.
definitely not worth more than that pod racer. One of them, maybe. Two of them, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah. They're trading them like cars. And it's weird because it's like they do present it as bad. Like, oh, I wish there wasn't slavery and slavery's bad.
Right.
What they don't present as bad is Qui-Gon being like, I bought you, not your mom.
Right.
I'm going to turn you into a child soldier now.
Ta-da.
So say goodbye to everything you know.
Right.
You got about 3 minutes. Pack this shit up.
And this is the best opportunity you'll ever have in your life, slave boy. Like he's turning him into a child and taking him, like, that's all, like, that's worse. Because whatever that slave life is, they had an apartment.
he got to go home early.
Right.
He's a
He finished
slave.
his chores.
We'll save the how the hell's for later. But yeah.
All right.
He's a slave. But he's not like in chains. He's not breaking rocks all day. He like works in a shop and has time to have hobbies on the side and build robots and stuff. So
But like getting back to the way that the racial tropes were presented in that movie, specifically on Tatooine and in and around the pod racing sequence, it's just as obvious as all the other ones, but to me, it's not as offensive. One of the race car drivers is like a pompous, or pod racers is like a pompous British admiral with the downturned.
Sebulba.
It's not Sebulba. There's
one
a
of the
guy
other
like
ones, yeah.
literally looks like a naval like admiral, and like, you know, twisting his
Yes.
mustache downward, and you know, it's silly with him. Like,
and Watto, is that his name? His owner,
oh yeah,
who
yeah, that was
has the big nose and all he cares about is money. And he's like, your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me. Only money.
That shit went over my head for like 20 something years until y'all pointed it out.
Yeah. And now it's just
it's
like,
no bueno.
Yeah. It's no bueno.
It's no bueno.
so the Tatooine section of
Still
the
like the
movie,
pod race though.
not so great. I don't like the pod race. It's fine. I don't know if that makes him the best starfighter in the galaxy or whatever.
We're going to keep an eye on your career.
So we're on Tatooine up until 78 minutes into the movie. I wrote this down. So from the first 28 minutes, we're on Naboo. 28 to 78, so 50 minutes
Yeah.
on Tatooine.
Act 2
to
is
meet
Tatooine.
him, pod race,
Pacing.
win him. And so then we have like a few minutes where we go back to Naboo for a minute. We see them on the ship talking, yada, yada. And then we go to Coruscant for about 15 minutes. And that's where all of the machinations in the Senate are happening, and the vote of no confidence and all that kind of stuff. All the political stuff happens.
Right.
And then from 97 minutes to the end, which is going to be like a half an hour, it's just the climax from there.
Right.
So here in the middle, it's like, it's, even all the stuff on Tatooine, it's not like he's building a world. It's Star Wars. We know it. I think it could have been shorter.
The pod race could have been a lot shorter. Also, fucking Sebulba goes through, disconnects part of his fucking pod, disconnects a gear or something from his pod racer, and it doesn't come into effect until the third lap somehow.
Right.
Of course. It's tension.
Yeah, but goddamn.
It's only because Anakin was pushing it so hard. Because he really wanted to win.
But it's also, that means it's 82 minutes into this movie before we meet Jedi Council.
True.
We don't meet them until we get to Coruscant. Up until then, you just see the two Jedis, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, the whole time.
No Yoda, nothing before that?
Not until the end.
Not till you see him
I just watched that shit this morning.
Jedi
It seems
until
odd.
we get up there. We
I
don't
guess
see
you're
anybody
right.
else. But then it's just in that one part, and then we go to the Naboo climax, which this is something we're going to need to, I want to kind of track as we do all these different movies.
Okay.
Every climax to a Star Wars movie, I feel like there is a wave of the amount of battlefronts happening at the same time. And this one is one of the biggest ones. Let me see where I wrote this down on here. Yeah,
There's 3 things going on, right? There's
4 things going on.
Okay. What are they?
So there's the Gungans fighting the droid army
Right.
out in the field. Amidala's fighting with her crew to get up to the throne room. So they're fighting through the palace.
They use those goddamn.
that's right.
What are they?
Yeah, they're using
the ropes.
grappling
grappling
pistols.
hooks and shit. Anakin is up in the starship out in space,
Right.
dog fighting, and then he blows up their ship. And then
Qui-Gon
and Obi-Wan versus Maul.
Darth Maul. Yep.
All 4 of those things are all happening at the same time. So that's like, and then you go and look at like what happens at the end of A New Hope. Just one
It's
thing.
just the one.
Yeah, it's just Trench Run.
Interesting. So are we going to keep track of those and talk
And then-
about them as we do each
I
movie?
swear they build. Yes.
Okay.
So that's the climax of this movie. So
Interesting.
yeah. What else as far as like feelings that you've had? The big question for this section is, what does this movie have that the other 10 Star Wars movies do not have? I would say, first of all, Darth Maul.
False, because he's in Solo.
Oh, good call.
Because I almost said that. Now I had to catch myself.
I would say anticipation.
False, because I just sound like I did.
You did sound a bit. You did sound like a whale dong just then. That was
My bad, y'all.
Purgle dick over there.
Right. Anticipate. None of the other movies
Had this
had
level.
this level of anticipation.
Is that because we didn't like this movie?
Well,
No,
Is
I
that
don't.
why the rest of them were like, all right, here comes the Star Wars.
Oh,
Hope they don't
maybe,
fuck
yeah,
this up.
Maybe.
No, because by the time episode 2 came out, we had probably soured a little bit on episode 1,
Yeah.
but not that much. Like it took a lot of like.
Episode 2 is the hardest one for me. It's going to be the one I complain about
I feel
the
like
most.
once the whole entire internet kind of was around more, because it was around
Right.
then, but it was like baby stages of the internet, right? Like it wasn't full on. You're walking around
Before
with
social,
no social
media,
media,
you
yeah.
couldn't have discussions. You could only
Yes.
have comment threads
Yeah.
on articles.
So
and
until
stuff.
like memes and shit started happening a little later,
Yeah.
is when the hate really happened, probably.
Right. But also, that second movie is a turd.
It's not good. There's 45 minutes of a great movie, but we'll save that for another episode.
Yeah. So, what else does this movie have above the others? It's got Qui-Gon.
I mean,
He's pretty cool.
Qui-Gon's
Are you talking
amazing.
about characteristics or about characters?
just
Whatever.
anything.
Just anything. Like the feeling that you had watching this, like I was super excited. I
a naked droid.
did have a naked.
That's right. His parts were showing.
They were. He wanted skin. It was weird.
I don't remember him coming. Is he in episode 2? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a hot minute since I've seen it.
Yeah, there's that whole scene where he's like in the droid factory getting his head knocked off and all that and traded with the battle droid.
Okay.
Stupid.
Yeah. And he says, die, Jedi scum.
Yeah. It's weird.
I don't know. What are your thoughts on what does this have that the others don't?
I mean, it's got some characters. It's weird because this movie it takes place 10 years before part 2. So the next time we see Anakin, instead of being 9, he's now 19
Right.
in episode 2. So this movie is like so separate. Like we see the Senate, but we don't really understand how it works. We see the Jedi Council, but we don't totally get how it's working. Like they're being sent places and they have assignments and stuff, but you don't really know all of the ins and outs yet. And Like, we don't have Dooku and Grievous and any of the people that are going to be bigger players in the next two movies. So it's like all of this stuff is missing. To me, the big miss of the whole prequel trilogy is that this movie should have been the 15-minute prologue to the real, like, and now we can start. Now you saw him as a kid. We don't need 15 minutes of pod racing. We need 15 minutes of tell the whole story of him getting off Tatooine. And then let's start with 19-year-old.
But that's
I'm
a
young
what
and
if.
cocky.
That's a what if. I mean, right? Like, I'm not disagreeing with you. But,
I just think that, like, I don't.
But like this, what this movie has that the other movies don't have are young Anakin, right? Like, that's not a good or a bad thing. It's just what it has. Jar Jar Binks throughout the whole movie. This is the only movie that does that.
That's true. I don't mind him. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's another racially problematic character, but he's funny. I don't know. I like him. I like him being around.
I like him more now than I did in the years following. Like after a couple of years of seeing, I really was like, But now I don't know.
I mean, you used to think people are gonna die.
Right.
It still gets on my fucking nerves.
Well, it's part of it, at least to me, part of it is.
That's how I feel every time R2 beep boop beep beep.
You can get the fuck out.
That's all I'm saying. Tomato,
you can't
tomato.
fire him on this episode because
Tomato.
he's the producer of this episode.
That's
but
right.
like Jar Jar, the way he's used in the first one is so childish. And that was Lucas.
Yeah, like stepping in poo.
Right. Like there's a sequence where, it's in the setup for the pod race sequence.
If there's anything we've proven here on our podcast, it's that we don't like doo-doo jokes.
Right. And it makes no sense. Like, they just set up some stakes for the pod race. The pod race is about to start, but there's a fart joke in the middle of it that has nothing to do with anything.
Yep.
It has nothing. And I mean, it's like they had to go out of their way to make that fart joke. It's not even a joke. There's no setup to it. It's just
somebody farts.
The camel looking thing rips ass and
then that character Chuck says
Right.
that was funny.
That was funny.
And then that's it. You don't need that part. You're right.
Yeah,
it's extra.
See, you're complaining about the pod race scene. I think that fart scene makes it too long.
Do you think that is funny?
I do think it's funny.
It's pretty funny.
Farting.
All right, so this is part one's over. Commercial
You
break.
had questions, right?
Oh, that's part. No, I mean
That's part two.
part one of the 3-part of this show.
God damn, my bad.
It's complicated
All
as
right.
fuck.
Sorry, producer Corey, go.
We're about to go into Force Lightning Round. It would just be Lightning Round, but it's Force Lightning Round.
Gotcha.
Before or after the break?
After the break, we're taking a break right now.
Taking a break.
And break.
Sponsor.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. If you're on Tatooine, get your hut down to Mos Espa Pod Race Circuit. We've got Sebulba, Young Skywalker, pit droids, non-stop action. Will pesky Tusken Raiders murder your favorite pod racer? Will a Jedi cheat you out of your favorite slave? You'll find out this and more on Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Pod Race. Welcome back. We are a Star Wars. Round 2, Force Lightning Round. Phantom Menace edition. What is the best scene of this movie?
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates.
This is going to be really short. Duel of the Fates.
Do we need to play the rules that if we say the same thing, we have to think of another one?
Because that'd take forever. Also, what is
but
better
there's
than
some really great scenes
What's
in
the
that
better
movie.
scene than Duel of the Fates?
I mean, all right. So what specifically is the best part of Duel of the Fates?
All of it? As a whole?
I mean, the actual moment when he ignites the second half of his saber.
Okay. I'm in.
That's
I pooped right in my pants.
There's that
This movie will always have that moment.
that egg smell
that yes.
that you were talking about? Corey
Yeah.
shitted.
Yeah, that was because I shitted and farted. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, doo-doo jokes. My bad. What's the best line of this movie?
And it can't be yippee.
Yippee!
I do have.
I would say when Obi-Wan says to Qui-Gon, "You were right about the negotiations. They were short." I was like, Obi-Wan's got a sense of humor. That's great.
Now, this one is probably going to be the number one. I wrote it out. Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to
Violence.
suffering.
Why did I think it was violence?
I sense much fear in you.
Yeah, you're good. You're right.
Yeah, that's the best Star Wars line.
That's pretty good.
I still like yippee.
Yeah. I mean, he does yippee a couple of times. He wheezes
His old
a
fucking
lot.
friend Yippie's son.
Oh, let's talk about Kitchener. What's his name?
Kitster.
Wait, are we still in the lightning round?
Kurtster. Oh, lightning round.
Yeah, lightning round.
Sorry. Let me page through my notes loudly for everyone to hear. All right. What's the best side character of this movie? Not main character. So not a Jedi or a duly elected
Does
queen.
Darth Maul count as a side character?
Probably.
Kind of.
He's hardly in it.
That's true. What was the name of the captain of the Queen's Guard?
Couldn't tell you.
Namira.
I like that guy.
Karama. Samsonite.
Samsonite. I like that character.
Oh, best villain. That's Maul.
Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
Jar Jar Binks.
So in this movie, we get Darth Sidious as only a hologram.
Right?
And we also have several scenes of Senator Palpatine as he becomes elected chancellor towards the end.
Right?
And they know that we know that he's him.
Yeah. They weren't trying to hide that from
No,
us.
but it's a weird thing that they let you kind of well, maybe someone will never see this and they won't know that that's the same dude. They leave it that way, but no one's going to ever, there could have just been a scene where he's sitting at his desk at the Senate and he's making a little hologram and then he turns around and takes his cloak off and he's like, all right, anyway, back to the Senate. They could have thrown that in.
I think they did that on the Family Guy.
Probably. Okay, best hero. We got Qui-Gon. We got Obi-Wan. We got Anakin.
I'm going
We
with-
got Padme.
I'm going with Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan does some growing in this one, for sure. Because he's kind of a little dick in the beginning, and then Qui-Gon's
I think this is the Qui-Gon show,
like,
though,
yeah.
to me. I'm like, this is all about, if it was any other Jedi, they leave him on the planet, and they're like, ooh, he's got too many midichlorians. Let's leave this one be. That's what the rest of the Jedi Council was like. We're not training him. He's dangerous and crazy. So
yeah.
if it wasn't for Qui-Gon, the story ends here, kind of thing. So I feel
You
like
might be
he's
right.
The story ended for him.
best planet or city or location. So we have 3 planets in this movie exactly. We go to Naboo, we go to Coruscant, and we go to Tatooine.
Coruscant.
I think it was cool to see Coruscant.
It was
Coruscant
really cool
looks
to see
cooler,
Coruscant. Yeah.
I mean, we get to visit it a whole lot more later, but that's pretty cool.
But this was our first time really
Yeah.
really seeing it. I mean, we got a little taste of it in the special edition release for Jedi
Right, in
at the very end.
Fireworks.
But
Yep.
we don't know what it is.
Thing.
I mean, only
Right.
because we've seen the others.
But we got to see the Jedi Temple.
But I will say, on behalf of Naboo, really pretty planet, and they have their own thing with all the chrome and the shiny.
That's
stuff.
true.
They have
look
an
like
aesthetic.
a Windows background.
Yeah, yeah, very blue skies.
Looks like Naboo. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're going with Naboo?
Yeah, I think I'll go Naboo
Cool.
because we'll probably go to Coruscant. It'll probably be the best thing of part 2 or something. What's the best ship? Best spaceship? Best. So we've got the Naboo starfighters. We got the big chrome cruiser that they're in most of the time.
The transport for the queen or whatever.
Yeah. We see Maul's Sith interceptor thing.
So I noticed something about that when I what little I got to rewatch of Phantom Menace.
Mentis.
Is when his starfighter and Darth Maul's Kylo Ren's starfighter are similar looking.
Yep.
Right. They've got that long stretched front end and then the tie components on the back end. But his exhaust, the engine propulsion, whatever you want to call it, is green like the Dathomir magics.
Huh.
And now that's way ahead of any of that introduction. But I noticed that this morning and I'm like, are they always green, or is like they're usually blue, but this one's green? And
right.
It was probably just to differentiate it, and you're introducing a new character, but that green is part of where he's from. I thought that was interesting.
Interesting.
Nerd. My favorite ship was the Queen's Transport, because it looked like an SR-71 spy plane, and I love the way that plane looks.
We also have the big, it's like the Star Destroyer precursor from this movie, which is like the little globe with the donut around it that the
Trade Federation's communication ship
out of there.
Yeah. Or command ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it looked a little bit like a little mini Death Star, right?
Right.
That round structure at the center.
Right.
That was pretty cool. What was your favorite ship?
I don't know. I think I like the Naboo fighters, the yellow.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty cool. And it's nice seeing them back in action.
They look fast. Best chase. Let's see.
You guys clearly don't like the pod
racing.
races. Is that the only chase?
More or less. I mean, Maul chases Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, or Qui-Gon and Anakin for about 3 seconds on his speeder, but they don't know they're being chased until the last minute.
Right.
That big underwater thing kind of chases them when they're in the Gungan
the big
city
fish
at the
eats
beginning.
the bigger fish. Who eats the smaller
There's always
fish?
a bigger fish.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like there's one of the Star Wars staples is having a scene where they're just moving super fast through things, and you're like, how are they not hitting things and
17-minute pod race.
A 17-minute
and that's the pod race for
yeah.
this movie. Yeah. Best fight. I think that's
Duel of the Fates.
hands down amazing.
It's working.
Best shot. Best like cinematic. I'll admit that when I wrote this question, it was because I had watched A New Hope. And there's so many things in there. There's so many shots in there where you're like, Luke is just standing there looking at the suns. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
We don't really get that in this movie. We don't get, because it's all,
I'll say this.
it's all fake and it's all fast.
And every shot has something moving in it because they could. Right. Like if it was an establishing wide shot of the palace, there are birds flying through it.
Right.
Like every shot has something moving in it.
True.
And it was a little much, but I don't know.
Somebody
Favorite
told George
shot?
Lucas to move the camera one time, and he was like, yeah, okay. What's up?
You know, like cinematic, especially as it relates to iconic, it would be Darth Maul igniting that second half of his saber.
It's hard.
That's an iconic scene. That's an iconic beat that did so much work in generating the anticipation in the trailer, right? Like seeing that, you have no idea what the hell that is.
Yeah, because
None of us had ever fathomed a double-bladed lightsaber in all the years of playing with them and making them, right?
Yeah, the first time you see a saber, he jumps off his speeder to attack Qui-Gon, and you're like, why is that hilt so fucking long?
Right.
Never really paid much attention to it before, but today I was kind of I was looking for things.
Yeah.
And I was like, why didn't we catch this shit?
There's a lot of beautiful shots in that movie, but to me, that one is the most iconic for me. The second one would be the look on Ewan McGregor's face when he is trapped inside the energy doors.
Yeah.
And he's ready to engage with Darth Maul. And it's, you're looking at him through that rippling red energy field.
What's his hype music in his head? What's he playing?
The Duel of the Fates. I love those two
It's
shots.
like a DMX song.
Right.
Stop! Stop! Come up, open up shop! Oh, little rider. Oh, ah. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it's Duel of the Fates.
It's probably Duel of the Fates.
Lightning round. Best toy from this movie. So I have in here in front of us today some toys that are actually just drink holders from Taco Bell from 1999 that still have Dr. Pepper inside of them.
And a Jar Jar.
And there's a Jar Jar.
Is that a Black Series Jar Jar?
Yeah, he's a recent Jar Jar.
Okay, so you've had him for a minute.
And what's funny is the Darth Maul has no legs.
No, he's
So
just a cup.
it's on brand.
It's funny, I did notice this the last time I happened to glance over. He's got this big ass hilt right there, though,
Yeah, he does.
on the bottom half of the cup. That's cool.
Yeah, so best toy from this movie?
There were a lot of toys.
For me, it was the Queen's Transport. I bought that for James,
Hmm.
and it was a big, massive toy, big Christmas gift, big play set.
Heck yeah.
And we still have it. It's in the garage somewhere.
I had the yellow Naboo Starfighter.
Mm-hmm.
I think my brother got that for me for my birthday or Christmas one year.
I think all I got was like a little mall. I got like one of those
I had the mall that would
3
ride the
1/4
bike,
or whatever they are.
that had the little bicycle, the little right, the little unicycle, his little power wheel.
When he would ride around in circles and juggle.
Yeah, I mean, how else was he gonna like stay sharp? Right, when he's killing time, he's got downtime, waiting for the Emperor to give him a mission. He's out there practicing for Cirque du Soleil.
All right, best use of the Force in this movie.
Corey Hanna.
Just the thing that caught my eye this morning was one of the very first scenes we see of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon when they're fighting. Mm-hmm. And we see Obi-Wan force push some of the droids.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason that caught my eye this morning, I was like, was that the first time we ever really saw a force push? Because they didn't use it really in episodes 4, 5, and 6.
The Jedis didn't. Vader was throwing shit all the time.
But I mean, not like this. Like,
But he wasn't in the original trilogy. He wasn't throwing stuff.
I mean, he disconnected hoses and shit sometimes to hit Luke with.
Right.
But like this, just going.
He threw refrigerators at him.
Like using the Force itself to generate the
Yeah.
Force push, right? That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Big on choking.
Yeah.
Lots of choking.
Sure.
Vader was good at choking.
Loves choking.
Side note, Jim and I drank heavily at Dragon Con one year with
I don't drink.
the guy that originally got force choked by Vader in the original trilogy.
The sad, forgotten religion guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we were having drinks with some friends that we met that year at the bar, and they're like, "Hey, Tom Savini's coming." So we got to hang out with Tom Savini, and then
That's a different guy. Tom Savini wasn't
Yeah,
that guy.
he's a
I'm sure
different
you
dude.
guys know that.
But up walks a dude. I forgot what his real name is. Richard something. I feel like
Not Linklater.
he was very drinky at the time, and we were at that point in the evening very drinky. Fun
That was the
times.
best part about Dragon Con was sitting at the bar at the Hyatt and just watching people. It was the best perch to sit there and watch folks down below, outside, and in the main lobby. That's my favorite part about Dragon Con.
That
is
was
seeing
probably
people watching.
my
people
first
watching
like
and seeing their
exposure to
costumes.
like cosplay and stuff, because there was a guy in full on Darth Maul gear, like skin paint, like walking around shirtless, dressed up like Darth Maul, badass.
It was me.
Yeah, it was Jim. It was Jim.
It was not me.
Next question.
We could still do it, though. We could pull it off.
Right. Like, if Darth Maul got old and fat,
If we get 1 million likes, we'll dress like Darth Maul.
We'll
and
do it.
Paint our bellies.
I'll do that.
1 million.
1
at
million
We
likes.
are a Star War.
But wait, what was the
Best
prompt again?
best use of the Force in this movie.
So I'm not going to say it's the best, but it's the first time that we saw them force hold their breath. Right? When they go to poison the release the dioxins inside the
gas,
the little holding room that they're in, and it's the first time we see them force run fast as fuck.
Is it the last time we see them Force run fast as fuck?
It's possible.
In the movies, I think so.
Because they never use that little power again. That seems useful.
Yeah. Like very specifically, you see them like as a blur running down the hall away from the 2 destroyer droids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The force push is much cooler, but those were the two that I noticed as being new force powers.
Qui-Gon uses it to cheat
Yeah.
when he throws the
dice.
dice and he's like, red it's the boy, blue it's the mother, and he like.
So
"What?"
about that, was it because he figured the dice were loaded, so he was undoing the cheat, or
Maybe, yeah.
or was he really, or did he really step on chance?
I mean, it would totally ruin his whole plan if he had to go home with Shmi.
Sure, but no, I'm saying like, did he know that?
In the trilogy.
Was he
Sitting
making
in the ship?
Like,
they're
was he making
all
a
right,
judgment?
Shmi, what can you do?
I mean, the end result is still the same. He made it so that it was blue, but was
Right.
he undoing a cheat,
Was he
There's
cheating?
no
or was he
really-
cheating?
Yeah.
Right.
There's no
question.
indication really. I mean, you kind of assume everything Watto does is cheating a little bit, but
Right.
Yeah.
there was really no indication that was the.
I would like to point out that I think Watto and Quato from Total Recall are probably cousins, but that's a whole other podcast,
Give the people the air.
right?
That. Yeah. Nice.
See you at the party, Richter.
All right. Quick round from 1 to 11. How are the special effects? in
11
this
because there are
movie?
11 movies, correct?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why. It's because it's 1 to 11.
1 to 11.
And some of these do go to 11.
Special effects are not horrible in this one. They're not great.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So-
Overusage probably, but
Yeah.
Way over usage, but I love that this was shot on film. It looks so good.
yeah, I mean it holds up well visually, I think.
And the way that they composited, not every shot looks flawless, but it's consistent throughout. I mean, it's a great looking movie. But I love, there are so, I can't think of like specific shots, but there's so many beats in that opening sequence, that opening 28 minutes that are just incredible. And they were all of the shots that were shot on film on a predominantly real location that looked incredible. And I'm so glad that the sequel trilogy went back to shooting film and shooting as much as they could on practical
Yeah,
locations.
because it's going to get less and less.
It
from
gets
here
less and less
in
yeah.
this trilogy.
So I appreciate that about Phantom Menace. And I think that it looks good because
Mentis.
of that. I also love, and I know you guys hate the pod race scene, but I only know this from reading articles and magazines and stuff, but they used in the crowd scenes like little painted matchsticks and Q-tips.
Go outside, nerd.
Right. With your worthless chime-ins. All right.
I do like to know that someone built a miniature. That makes
Right.
me so
That
happy
is
when
neat,
I can
yeah.
see something. I'm like, that's a tiny thing that exists somewhere in someone's garage right now.
Someone made it.
Yes.
That is cool.
How is the plot of this movie? Like, where do we go from A to B in the saga big time? That's was my chief complaint is like,
I mean,
not
we
really.
meet Anakin.
That's all we do is we meet him. Here he is.
The notes I sent you guys this morning as I started. The first one was goddamn trade routes.
I didn't make notes.
I didn't get any notes.
Well, it's not a note. It's just a text I sent you guys. It said goddamn trade routes. And then I should keep count of these words: Federation, invasion, communication. And then you said embargo, boycott, bureaucracy.
This is where the bureaucrats take over. They have the real power.
I mean, plot wise, there's a lot of goddamn exposition in this movie.
But isn't that like kind of grounded, right? Like you've got a galaxy of planets. I mean, there's going to be so much red tape, and I mean, yes, I'm not saying it makes for a good plot. No, I'm not saying it makes for a good plot, but it's,
when you heard they were making this movie, were you like,
I can't wait to see.
I hope we learn about the bureaucracy of the empire or the republic.
But done differently, you get Andor.
Although we are very happy to hear about
Right?
it now. It's true.
All right, what else?
How is the acting?
Horrible.
I
Absolutely.
didn't
horrible.
answer that last one. I don't mind the plot on this one, but then again, I think it's because I don't mind pod racing. So my vote doesn't count.
Sorry.
Call this episode "I Don't Mind Pod Racing."
Brought to you by Duel of the Fates.
Yeah, I was really paying attention to Natalie Portman in rewatching it.
Terrible.
But it's like very clearly on purpose terrible. Like she's
Yeah.
wooden and awful And I'm just like, she's doing, that's like whether she's being told to, but that's like every time she's the queen, I cannot stand for this to happen to my people.
The queen I kind of get because she has to be like stone faced, but some of her other, and it's all, I blame it on Lucas because she's been great in other movies. So
She's tremendous. Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah.
And you can't
it was
blame,
a choice.
like, there's a kid.
There are plenty of. I don't want to beat that horse too much because there's we're not going to get anything else out of it. But yeah, I think the queen. It was a character choice. But I do think that there's better moments. Could have been better moments.
All right. Final question for this: put one F-bomb in the movie.
We've done it before, but I don't remember where it went.
That's why it's fun. We can do it again.
Okay, I got mine. Hang on.
You can't cheat. Like, what's
if it's
from
PG,
your memory?
if
You
it's
just
PG-13 in America, you're allowed to put one fuck in a movie.
as long as it's not in reference to the sex act.
Right. Just as an expression.
Mm-hmm.
So, Samuel L. Jackson is in this film.
Nah, but that's the easy way out. I say when Watto loses the dice roll to Qui-Gon, he's like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got mine. I'm a fucking person. My name is Anakin.
Okay, what's yours, Corey Martin?
Oh, I have to think about that one now because I feel like I like him as a little boy better if he says
A little
fuck
potty
one
mouth?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I might second that emotion.
I'll try spinning. That's a good fucking move.
You so fucking think people's gonna die?
See, I think if Jar Jar, when he steps in shit, he just goes, fuck. Right?
That's pretty good.
Or when Sebulba beats his ass, he goes, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it belongs to Jar Jar. I think the F-bomb belongs to Jar Jar.
All right, that's the third.
We're going to get fucked up.
That's the second part. We're taking a break. This is where sponsors will pay us. So stick around for the commercial. We're coming back.
Hey, do you love jizz? Do you spend your afternoons in a cantina drinking blue milk and listening to jizz? Do you like Max Rebo, the Galactic Jizz Whalers? Catch a speeder to Tatooine and take your lady to Jabba's palace. Let some of our fresh, hot jizz wash over you.
Cheers.
We back.
Whoa, welcome back.
Howdy.
All right. Welcome back to the third part of our special episode about Phantom Menace, episode 1 of Star Wars. So,
Star Wars.
the rest of the show today, we're just kind of freeball about. We've got a couple of little things. You know, when we see films as cinephiles that we have been our whole lives so far, we occasionally on the way
Except
home.
there was that one Tuesday where we were all like, not today.
No, not
we just
today.
don't like movies today.
But most of the time, we have what we call How the Hells, which is plot holes, basically.
Right.
And then we have Now If You Think About It, which is a little bit deeper when you're like, hey, I've been thinking about this movie for 5 days and I have a problem all of a sudden, like stuff that occurs to you later. So we'll cover all of those. First of all, I would open it up by saying, who or what is the Phantom Menace? What does the title mean?
I always thought it was in reference to Palpatine.
Yeah. I think it's
He's a menace, and it's like he's a phantom because nobody realizes he's there.
Because there's like that one line with Obi-Wan in the beginning where he's like, man, something don't smell right. Mm-hmm. And Qui-Gon's like, you
Probably
need to
them
stay.
eggs that-
Qui-Gon's like, you need to stay in the moment. And Obi-Wan is like, but, Yoda said I should, touch the Force and like see what's out there. And
Put my finger in it.
like,
Wiggle around in it.
and Qui-Gon was like, yeah, but not at the expense of the moment.
Not at the dinner table.
Not at the dinner table, right? Like
I didn't
Jar
think
Jar.
this was the sex episode.
Right. No, that's for a different episode. Yeah. That.
Yeah, I agree. It struck me watching it, since we're talking about him being there and no one knowing that he's right there in their face.
That he's the Mentis.
He is the Mentis and he's just right there the whole time. Like a lot of this movie, he seems to be wanting to make a point about how easy it is to lie. Like they can just land on a planet and be like, I'm not a Jedi. What are you talking about? Or they can invade a planet and go to the Senate and be like, we didn't invade a planet. You need to send a committee to
And
see
you know
what you're
why
talking
they
about.
can get away with that? There's no news.
Because there's no news in Star Wars.
There are no
press.
journalists. There's no press.
There's no photographs.
Right.
It's weird. No pictures.
Can you imagine how traumatic it would have been if they had continued with the Jar Jar as the undercover Sith? Mm-hmm. Right? Like to little kids to go from stepping in shit and being, poodoo, to like
to younglings
being Order 66ing the younglings.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool, actually. Yeah.
All right. What else do we have? Any how the hells about this show? About this particular movie? Any issues with?
Oh, plenty of issues.
I have one thing. There's a big trope that I really don't like when I see it used, and it's used in this movie, which is like we're fighting an army, but if we do this one thing, they'll all just drop.
With this one neat trick.
I hate that. It happened in this. It happened in Game of Thrones, where they were like, if you kill the night guy, then the whole army falls apart. And it's like, that's so cheap. I hate that. Happened in Lost Boys. Kill the vampire that's in charge. All the other ones die. Yep. It just seems like a cop-out to be like, we just have to blow up one thing in space and the whole army will just go to sleep. Like they need constant instruction, Wi-Fi wise, to like shoot.
Apparently.
It seems weird to me. It seems like those droids though. The rest of the droids in this stupid universe can walk around and make sassy jokes.
They're not controlling them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They were only programmed to control the war droids, battle droids.
Well, that seems like a bad idea for an army.
Clearly.
To be like, I built this amazing army.
Lesson learned.
Giant weakness.
So then we build clones.
Yeah.
On the other side.
Which I guess they're already being built right now, aren't they?
They're already being built. That's right. That's all part of the Phantom Menace.
Phantom.
Batman.
All right, what else? How the hells? Any issues?
Not an issue, but when Qui-Gon is going into town, I guess it's Qui-Gon and Jar Jar. Padme ends up, tagging along, and the captain's like, the queen wants you to take her handmaiden. And Qui-Gon's like,
yeah,
I'm done taking orders from the queen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the captain is like, she's really interested in the culture. Would you please take her? That seemed really weird. She's standing right there.
Another thing, after they get in the battle where, or they're escaping and all the other droids get blown up and R2-D2 saves the day. And then R2-D2 comes in and meets the queen, but it's the fake queen because Padme is standing right here.
Right.
And then the fake queen says, we should reward this droid. Padme cleaned this droid. And so the fake queen makes the real queen go and scrub down R2-D2.
Correct.
And
that's some baller shit.
And real queen is like, well, I gotta like play the role, so I'm gonna go and.
But I think that's all Padme's idea.
This,
I mean, the handmaiden thing, the body double is her thing.
Yeah, but did she know that she was going to be given chores? She's the queen.
It's probably better than being dressed up like a peacock.
I feel like later they were in the locker room later, and they were like, "Dude, really? You made me clean a droid? Come on,
fuck you, Padme.
Fucking Naboo, the whole planet." Voted me to be the queen, and you're making me clean a droid.
I'm the queen, and you're the sorry people.
Yeah. She could have used that exact line.
King Curtis.
Son of a bitch. Why did Qui-Gon die from one stab that we have seen now? Everyone, you can get cut in half. You can be thrown into a Sarlacc pit. You can be stabbed. You can be chopped. You can be cut. You can do anything you want, and we'll find a way to bring you back.
I said this on another recording. It may have been one of the lost episodes. I don't remember, but this is science, and there are different beliefs, I'm sure. There was a doctor on TikTok that broke all this down about where the stabbings took place and how they would have survived. And like
Maul's was a fatal blow. Yeah.
Yeah, but it cauterized him, and then Qui-Gon.
The Maul stabbing Qui-Gon.
Yeah. So like where he hit was like major arteries and shit. And then like where who was the other one that was brought back?
Sabine.
Sabine.
Hers was off to the side in a different place.
You don't need your guts or your kidney.
Kylo gets stabbed too.
Oh yeah, but he gets his could have been fatal.
She heals
She
it.
saves his life though. Yeah.
That's some J.J. Abrams bullshit.
Yeah. While Qui-Gon's Force Ghost is standing right there going, what the fuck? You can just rub it and it gets better?
I mean,
You can rub it.
that is
you can blow on
technically
it.
a how to hell.
Yeah.
But that's all. Let's save that for the other movie. So for this one, though, like Qui-Gon. So what about, like, we had to see, somebody had to die.
Also,
Obi-Wan died in A New Hope.
his funeral is gross.
His funeral's real gross.
They're like 4 feet away from a burning
Corpse.
dead body on fire. Hair,
Making
beard,
this
on
6-year-old
fire.
watch.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, look what you just signed up for.
Yeah,
There's
look
your
at-
teacher.
Look at the army you
This
just
guy
joined.
that you trusted and you followed is fucking dead. Dude, it's only been like 2 weeks.
Now let's shave your head.
I'll give you a ponytail.
Because all the fucking Jedi funerals are different in the cartoons.
And like it ended with the weirdest callback to the end of A New Hope with like all of them just standing on some stairs posing for not the
Celebrating.
press.
Yeah.
The people.
There was nobody there. It was just them.
They were just trying to make a good story for people to pass along at campfires,
Right.
which is the only way that stories are told.
Oh boy. They got like a glowing power orb, right? Like didn't Boss Nass like give Queen Amidala like one of those little plasma bulbs that you could get from Radio
win.
Shack? Right?
Put your hand on this. It's cool.
Yeah. I had one of those. It was cool.
Is that it? Or is there more?
I don't know. What else y'all got? The movie that I watched last night featured a Yoda that was fully CGI. But when we saw that in the theater in 1999, that was a puppet. That was an ugly Yoda puppet.
It was a puppet.
And they
Are you
changed
sure?
it.
CG?
Yeah. They changed it. He's not a puppet in that movie anymore.
You positive?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you research that?
Yeah.
I mean,
And he's not going to do it right now.
I have researched it. That's why I'm speaking with such
are you for real
authority.
though?
Yeah. Do you not remember when we first saw it that they were like, oh, here's the Yoda puppet, and it looked weird. It looks like Yaddle or whatever
I
her
don't
name
remember
is.
that.
It looks like that, and you're like, oh, that's more of a Muppet than the Yoda I remember. And they eventually replaced it with a CGI.
Wow.
So now Yoda looks the same in all 3 of those movies
Oh, okay. Well,
because
that makes sense.
because he used to be a puppet in the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
Promise. But he was only in the movie for like 5 minutes. Also,
Yeah.
he's got like 3 scenes.
Word.
Yeah, that's
Had
a little
no
thing.
idea.
That's a thing I saw and wrote down. What else? What else you like about this movie or don't like about this movie?
I mean, we could go for days about it, but I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah.
Dialogue is pretty terrible. 50 minutes of one section of your movie is in one location, essentially.
So we did say that we would save slave child hobbies for how the hell.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a slave, but he's building a very, like, I would assume, complicated protocol droid.
droid, yeah.
And he's also got a secret pod racer
To help him out with his chores.
that his boss doesn't even know about the pod racer.
Is he just stealing this shit from everybody?
He must be, I guess. Or a slave makes a lot of money on Tatooine. As a, like, shopkeeper or whatever he is.
Right. That's how the hell.
He's got a lot of resources.
That's a very good how
He
the
does
hell.
have a lot of
for
resources.
a 9-year-old
Yeah.
slave.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe he's out
Yeah,
there.
because he's building the pod racer in secret.
Yeah, because there's a point where he says, "You crashed my last pod racer," and he's like, and then Qui-Gon has to pretend like, "Oh, I've secured a pod," because he's like, "I built one, but Watto doesn't know.
Because it would be
You're an
Watto's
angel."
it would
Yeah.
be Watto's pod racer
Right?
if he knew that he built it.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Cleaning the droid. Why is I don't understand the politics of Naboo and why they elect a queen.
Also,
And it's not for life because she's not the queen at the
how
end
big
of
is
this
the
trilogy.
planet? How big is Naboo?
How many and how are they hiding a whole civilization under the lake over there?
Yeah. Because like when they take the little underwater submarine through the planet core. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're getting chased by a dragon and Jar Jar's screaming the whole time and the big fish eats the bigger fish.
Yeah.
Or flip that. It's like a 5-minute cruise through the planet core.
Yeah. And I'm like, when you were watching today and you were like, oh, I know where all of my people are hiding. It's a place that's very sacred to me. I'll take you there right now.
You want to come see it? You want to come
on,
see
everybody.
I know I've only known you for like a week or two, but let's go. It's a secret place where we go and we're so scared.
But then I noticed it was just like it was just like a place in the woods. Like, we just like it over here. This is where we hang out. It's not like a secret base or something.
Ain't even that fucking secret.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I got.
I think that's been a good episode.
That's good for Phantom Menace.
We've been going for like an hour and 15 minutes.
That's good for Phantom
We
Menace.
got a break
'Cause we
in
got some things to say about Attack of the Clones.
I'm gonna have to watch that again. It'll be like the fourth time I've ever watched it.
I'm not going to watch it.
But now I've got
I'm not going to watch the whole thing. I'll tell you that.
Well, I'm going to.
I might actually, because I haven't watched the whole Attack of the Clones.
I think you're bound by the laws of our podcast.
Oh, is it in the bylaws?
The bylaws.
Yes.
That we're going to store in an old timey safe in the clubhouse?
In the clubhouse. We're going to build a clubhouse in Jim's backyard.
Yep.
Moss Torres.
We are a clubhouse.
We are a clubhouse.
And also, we are a Star War. You can find us on social media at We Are a Star War on Instagram and Threads. Please review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. And I've completely forgot to mention our network of podcasts on the last 2 episodes that we recorded. I'm very sorry. Follow the Alabama Take on all social medias and go to thealabamatake.com. And I forgot, I'm a bad producer. I'm very terrible at my job. We have a network of other podcasts. Yeah, I lost some episodes probably, but we'd appreciate it to go like us there and buy a t-shirt. Go to tpublic.com, search for the Alabama Take, which is our network of podcasts I just mentioned, friends and fellow podcasters. And we still have shirts there. Just search for that, the Alabama Take store, and find us inside of that store on TeePublic. And signing off is Jim.
Star Wars. Dun, 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 dun.
They got stuck in second gear.
It hasn't been that much.
Can't find it, grind it.
Even that year. Star Wars.